Start with chapter one because that's always traditionally a good place to start. So tell us a little bit about the brand and where you're at now.
Well, we became global many years ago, but that appears to be our future. Working in more developing markets, current openings that are happening as we speak and will be happening over the next weeks in the Mediterranean. In Malta, I fly there Sunday to open store 10. Then the week after, I'm flying out to Martinique and Guadeloupe, Caribbean. So I like opening nice places. So I can't say that's a bad thing. And then going down from there to La Réunion near Martinique. So developing markets that may not have quick service or fried chicken. Places in Africa that love fried chicken. Just come back from the Congo. So Africa, Mediterranean, and out in the Caribbean. So we've spread the word. It's taken, as you say, 5 decades to get there, but it's, I'm not saying it's getting easier, but it's happening. The brand is becoming more noticed.
Taking you back now to the beginning. So where did it all start? It was your dad, wasn't it, that began?
Yes, it was actually my mother and father started a small business selling catering equipment. My father worked in America for another business doing barbecue chicken. And he saw in the 60s and 70s how fried chicken was so popular. That wasn't known in the UK. He loved it. He was working in South Carolina, tried fried chicken, and absolutely saw the potential of bringing that back to the UK. His marketplace, he just said, well, there are 5 or 6,000 fish and chip shops with protein, which is fish, which is very expensive. Why not introduce fried chicken to those restaurants? And that's what he did. We didn't have a brand name. We didn't have a franchise. We just had a recipe and an idea. And that's how it all started. And it took off. And before we knew it, back by the 80s, this would have been, there were about 700 of these fish and chip shops doing fried chicken, all different, not necessarily the same name above the door. But through demand, people said, what do you call this? Well, it's chicken from South Carolina. That's a long word. Well, it's Southern fried chicken. And that's where it began. I joined them in 81 to help out. It was time to take off. So as a young man of 19 years old, came in and helped them doing logistics, deliveries, and installing this equipment and cooking, putting the apron on. I remember the first batch of seasonings were made in our garage. And when we made the recipe, and my father made the recipe, I went into the house. I went to try and get in the house, and my mother said, take your clothes off. You're covered in flour. You're not coming in my house with those clothes on. So I had to strip on the doorstep. So back from a very primitive start, just 3-4 people in the business. And it started to evolve purely through demand. People liked what we created. They liked the taste. It was something new. And KFC hadn't really got a foothold at that time. So it was early days.
Question I wanted to ask you, actually. Over such a long period of time and going through all of this, you must have met some real characters, and franchising does genuinely change people's lives and allows people to start their own business, overcome difficulties and challenges in their own lives, and really does start to change people's lives. Are there any characters or stories over the years that stick out for you?
Yes, a good friend of mine now, after working with him 22, 23 years, Alexander, he came over to the UK looking for a chicken brand to take to Perm. And Perm is in the Ural Mountains in Russia. So 23, 24 years ago. He went to KFC and said, I want a chicken brand to take to here. And they laughed at him. And he was a very proud man, and he wasn't very happy to be laughed at. He then found us. He found us in a directory or an exhibition, I believe, and came in to see us saying, will you come to Perm? And I said, well, I'll go, but I don't know where it is. but he respected that I was willing to go there and see if we could introduce the brand. He had great success. He opened 46 of our outlets. He then started to diversify into other food brands, opening now 7 or 8 different food offerings. He has now 150 restaurants. He turns over £100 million a year.
Wow.
Obviously, there are political problems now. How did I know that this guy was going to be a success? How was he qualified? He is a professional photographer. He didn't understand food, but he was one of the most successful franchisees for Kodak Express. He expanded at a faster rate than anybody else did in his market. So he knew how to replicate success. He understood how to manage teams of people. So those skills were more important than knowing how to fry chicken. That's our qualification. So we taught him how to fry chicken. He understood that the market was changing and that in Russia at that time, hot food offer was very poor. There was no quick service, so he saw an opportunity, but he also understood that his business in photography was dying because digital was arriving. Who needs to develop film? So right time and opportunity, drive and determination that you wouldn't believe. He was hungry for success and he saw that opportunity. He understood how to manage multiple brands. And good luck to it. Great success story. Our most successful partner worldwide. Not many people you meet like this. I wish there were a list of them queuing up to join us, but there aren't. But we have to make those stories to help people on their way to become successful. Can I make people have the drive and determination? No, they've got to be born with that. But we can help the other parts.
Oh, that's lovely. I'd like to ask you, what exciting things are coming up for the brand in the future? You've obviously mentioned a lot of international expansion. This is the time where we like to get our franchising brand story exclusive.
The future is reducing overheads, costs of increased electricity, energy, staff. We've got to make a smaller footprint. And one of the advantages of having our own production company, we make our own machinery. We've been shrinking everything down. Can we open a home delivery hub, a dark kitchen, in 20 square meters? Yes, we can. It's low cost. So having a low cost model is also attractive when you're opening in different parts of the world because it will fit in a service station, fit inside another business. Can we afford to be in the high street in the future on our own with the high costs of rents and the other costs, energy costs that's doubled and the staffing costs? No, we can't. So we've got to shrink this down. We're going to have to make dark kitchens that have no shop front in secondary areas, in warehousing, that the only front will be a brand name on a website, and having multiple brands in the same kitchen, not just to have one, but having, whether it's salad sandwiches or pizza, whatever, but multiple kitchens. So you can gain from economy of scale. So reducing costs is the key for the future. If we stay as we are in big 200 square meters, big sit down areas that no one sits down in because they pick up their phone and order it. Because after lockdown, it did make us a bit lazy. We just sat at home. We had no choice. So we just used the app or the phone and ordered the food in. People haven't gone back to sitting in restaurants the same way. So making it small is beautiful, as they say. So that's the future for us. And making that small model is the secret, I think, for a lot of people's success.